If you're interested in making films with your action camera, check out Action Camera Filmmaking. It's on Amazon right now in paperback and for Kindle. And if you're running low on money this holiday season, there's also an economy version of it. So check that out. And if you're new to YouTube, I have a book called The YouTube Producer's Handbook, also on Amazon in Kindle and paperback formats. Hey guys, Nathyn Brendan Masters, Nathyn Brendan Masters Tech. Today I'm going to show you how to do some things if you have a little bit of money, and by a little bit of money I mean a few $1,000s. Now, as you guys know, I love to make things, and I love to tell people how to make things and how to create stuff and things like that. And one of the things that I used to do is, if I wanted to do something, and this is very important for everybody. Everybody listening, is very important. If you want to do something, the thought process is very simple. This thing is done. People are doing it. So how is it done? Very simple thought process, right? So this is a thought process I've had for years. People have done it. People are doing it. How is it done? You get on the phone, you go to the library, you start making calls, looking at books, and figuring out how stuff is done. This process is way more easier today because you have the internet, okay? People have the internet on their phones, people have the internet everywhere, and this thought process escapes them. It's crazy. Like, you start talking to people about this and they look at you like you're like a moron or something. And then they get this attitude of like, why would I want to do all this work? It's like, really? So for those who may be interested in this, maybe it's something you want to do, or maybe it's just something you're going to listen to for the information, just to get the juices flowing. Today I'm going to teach you how to create your own action camera, or more so, how to create your own action camera company. And it's actually very simple, again, if you have the money. And even if you don't have the money, you could do this with like a little bit of cash, okay? So I know I said a few $1,000s, but you could do this with a little bit of cash. Now, if you're watching this video, you, like myself, probably love you some action cameras. And you've probably seen a lot of them. But if you've paid attention, you'll notice something interesting happens. You'll notice certain cameras pop up, and then a bunch of other cameras pop up, and they all have the same body type, and a lot of them will do the same thing. The only difference will be the name or the insignia, or maybe one company will do something just a little bit different to differentiate themselves from the other, but for the most part, the camera is pretty much the same. So what do we have? Okay, there's some tiers. You're going to have your basic action camera. We talked about this when we talked about the fake versus real 4K. So you're going to have your basic action camera. That's your cheap, what they call, the 4K action cameras. Your cheap random action camera. It's going to cost you 30 to 50 bucks somewhere in there, right? Then you're going to have your high-end interpolated camera. Okay, that's going to cost you maybe about 90 bucks, maybe about 100. And it's going to have some special features, might have a touch screen, might even have some voice commands, things like that. And then you have just your real 4K cameras, and that's when you get into like the top tiers. You get into your GoPros and your SJ7s and Yi and all that stuff, right? So those are your tiers. All right, so the thing is, you see these bodies that pop up, and you go, oh, wow, okay. So it seems like these cameras are just coming from the same factory. It looks like that, right? That's because it kind of is. I'll show you how this is done. Now, the first thing you want to do is find a supplier. Now, there's a few like HD King and places like that, but the one everybody knows is Alibaba. So that's where we're going to go. Now, this is probably the home of every unbranded action camera ever. So if you ever need an action camera body, this is where you want to go. So let's check it out, see what we have here. I'm just going to type in, let's do a quick search for action camera. Just keep it basic. action camera. I don't know why I capitalized cameras, but here we go. Boom. And what do we have here? This is the generic 1080p action camera. You see this thing everywhere. Let's look here. It's got a couple of body choices. You got this nice one. Oh, that's kind of sweet. You got your little dual monitor right there. 4K, You got you some 4K, some sweet interpolated 4K is what you're looking at right there. So you can pay 26, 25, or 24, depending on how many of these you order. So let's go back and scrolling down, as Diversity in Comics likes to say. Uh-oh, here's something. Oh, wow, 4K. You didn't say 4K, did you? Let's look at this 4K action camera, shall we? This is from a company called Uncam, but let's be real. This is an unbranded body right here. There's no branding or markings on this body that says this camera is from X company. So Uncam is the manufacturer, the supplier, and you would say to them, hey, I want this on my bunch of cameras that I order from you. So let's go further. So, oh, wait a minute. Can't use that body. Let's oh, whoa, wait a minute. Is this a real true 4K camera? Let's take a look here, okay? That body looks familiar. Let's take a look here. All right, so okay, well, we're working with an all-winner V5 DV100 chip. Now, let me tell you guys about this chip. All right, so we know that the Novatex and the older all-winner chips are they kind of flatline back at at 2K. Okay, now this chip is 4K capable. So as you can tell, this is a knockoff of the Yi body, or Yi may have even used this company. I don't know, but I do know this is obviously very similar to the the body of the Yi 4K. All right, now the thing about it is, this is obviously, like I said, a 4K capable camera, but Yi uses the Umbrella chip. This uses the all-winner. It's still 4K capable, but it's a different chipset, but it is using the IMX 317. So those IMX sensors, for those who don't know, those are Sony sensors, and so this looks like it's a good setup here. Now, what else you'll also notice is, unless you ask for something specific, this camera has a very basic breakdown. So you got your 1080p at 120 frames per second. You have it at 240. Your 720 actually at 240. It even has the H.265 compression standard. That's the new standard that GoPro and some others are using. As a matter of fact, this was the standard that the old Samsung, I forget which camera that was, but it was a Samsung camera, 4K. It was really slick, but because it had the new standard, it was just a little bit too early for its time. It didn't do so well, okay? And it had great low light, had everything it needed, just was ahead of its time, so it didn't do as well as it should have. And a lot of computers were not ready for that codec, and they are now. So for those who don't know, a lot of times when you're getting video and it's in the MP4 format, the MP4 format is just what they call a wrapper. And so the wrapper, it makes the video or the information inside able to be read by certain equipment. So everything can read an MP4, but the inside the MP4 might be the H.264 format or the H.265 format, and any number of formats can be inside the MP4 wrapper. As a matter of fact, the .mov format is also a wrapper that houses other formats. So just a little information there. Now, originally the H.264 format was a delivery format, so that means that's what you receive your that's the way you receive your video. But the format was so good, people started actually working with it. So they get the video off the camera and just take it to the computer and start editing with it. And software evolved and learned how to work with it. So they did, it did well. It's a very popular format now, and this is just the step up from that format. So now I'm telling you all that from memory. So if I messed any of that up, feel free to let me know in the comments. But you have an optional remote control. You have dual mics. Look at this thing. This thing's incredible. And you can use 128 gig memory cards in this thing. This thing's a beast. Look at this. So let's scroll down and see what else we have. So now if I'm going to start a camera company, I'm going to want one of those generic El Cheapo models. And then I'm going to want this one, which is going to be the camera that I promote and put all our advertising budget behind. Because you would need an advertising budget, because that's what's going to separate you from other people, how many eyes your action camera gets in front of. So you're going to go here where it says start order, and you're going to start your order. So let's look here. You see how much they're going to ask you what your offer is for the stuff that you're going to pay. So I'm going to say one here. I'm going to say $60 for one, which I think that's already what it is, but just to be sure, I'm going to put $60 for one. Now you're going to scroll down here. It says require customization and then upload attachments. So what this is you're going to upload what you want on your camera. So basically you're customizing your camera. You can put your name or your logo, whatever it is. You can put that on your camera there, and then you order a bunch of these cameras and you can sell them at whatever price you want and see will people buy them. So simple thing. Here's the thing to keep in mind. To do this, obviously you're going to have to order a few of them. You can't just order one, or you might be able to order one, but it's got to be worth your while and their while to actually make that camera, and you got to pay freight and all that stuff. So keep that in mind. And that's pretty much it. You have your own action camera. You have your own action camera company. And if you start making money, then you can start doing your own R&D and stuff like that. But this is why you see so many action cameras that look alike. Now, if any of you guys out there decide that you're going to spend a few $100s, few $1,000s, something like that, and as a matter of fact, be sure to shoot one on over to me and I'll be glad to review it for you. But seriously, that does take me to the next order of business, which is you're going to have to send these out to reviewers. So you find people on Amazon who you see consistently review action cameras. You want to get in touch with them, send them send them one of your cameras, and then of course your YouTube reviewers, same thing. You want to see the people who review action cameras a lot, and you want to find the people that really like action cameras in general, not just the people who harp on the GoPro stuff. You want to find the people who you see reviewing action cameras a lot, and send the cameras to them and get them to talk about it, and they'll give your camera a fair shake. So let's look at a few more of these camera bodies here. See what we got going on here. Wow, a lot of bodies that we've seen before, actually. So wow. Okay, guys, that's it for me, Nathan Brendan Masters. Hope you enjoyed this video. Remember to like and subscribe. Be sure to share this video. Sharing the video really helps. And don't forget about the giveaway, guys. Don't forget about the SJ5000X giveaway. Other than that, you guys take it easy. Nathan Brendan Masters. Hasta.